In communities struggling with housing affordability, there is a gap between the financial costs of building housing and what typical households in that market can afford. For example, in Summit County, the average teacher is paid about $57,000 per year, and the average rent is about $1,500 per month, far more than what this wage can afford. The cost to build housing is generally fixed, no matter what the for sale or rent price is.
Just because we're doing an affordable project doesn't mean we get a price break, for example, on lumber or labor. The reality is we are capping our rents inherently to help the folks that we're trying to serve. And by doing so, we just can't afford as much debt on our properties. And it's a math problem. We have to have the full development sources to equal the uses. And in doing so, we absolutely need support from our local jurisdictions and state and federal folks.
Finding creative ways to fill that financial gap is an important part of local housing strategy. Typically, it requires some form of subsidy that helps either bring down development costs or increase the funding available for building or acquiring housing. Strategies to fund this gap include partnerships, dedicated local housing funds, and access to public funds, such as grants or other public sources. The Anvil Mountain development in the town of Silverton in San Juan County utilized public-private partnerships, a nonprofit organization acting as the developer, and a variety of public funding sources to purchase land, build infrastructure, and build over 24 units of affordable housing. The development includes rental apartments and single-family home ownership options that all have resident occupancy requirements and are income restricted at varying levels of area median income. The county sold 13 residential restricted lots at market rate with no income restriction to support the county's home fund account for future affordable housing development.
Silverton is a really unique place. We're not the only mountain town in Colorado, but we do have a lot of enhanced uniqueness because of kind of where we're situated, and that we really don't have bedroom communities that can support us with a workforce. There's a lot of obstacles against getting affordable housing built. Just cost of the materials is very high. Finding local labor or even labor to come up here, it can be difficult. Our build season is very short. So I think that there's a lot of things that can get in the way of development, but if you have a community that really wants to work together, that really believes in this, you can find those partnerships, either publicly or privately or together, and you can find a way to go forward with it, and that's really what we've done, and it's pretty incredible.
The Fuel and Iron Project is a developer-led adaptive reuse of a vacant historic building in the heart of downtown Pueblo, which utilized a variety of public funds to renovate the building. It includes 28 affordable rental apartments, ground floor food hall, and restaurant incubator space.
We were approached by the owners of Fuel and Iron to say, hey, we've got this idea in mind of an affordable housing project and a commercial project in a historic building in our historic district that had been vacant for decades. It's an iconic building, and they really sort of came to the table and had retained experts who have been through this process before. Part of the problem in Pueblo is none of our people have been through this process before, so the developers of the Holmes Hardware project came with experts. They brought people in on urban renewal. They were familiar with the federal financing requirements, the Federal Housing Authority issues that had to be worked through and resolved. So they came very well prepared to say, hey, these are the kind of things that we need to make this project viable in Pueblo, and can the city be a partner with us?
Summit County has long had a strong demand for vacation and second home buyers. Therefore, the housing stock for locals has significantly decreased, while the cost has significantly increased. Two major voter-approved sales tax initiatives provide a local designated funding source for workforce housing, which has funded the construction of almost 1,000 affordable housing units over the last decade, as well as the preservation of existing units. An additional 1,000 units are planned over the next 5 years. The Summit County Housing Authority receives the sales tax funds from the state and distributes to each taxing entity based on a proportion, including Frisco, Breckenridge, Dillon, Silverthorne, Montezuma, and Summit County. Since 2006, over $76 million has been generated from these funds, which have been successfully used to leverage between $250 to $300 million to create several other programs, including buy-down and down payment assistance, land banking, LIHTC allocations, federal and state loan and grant matches, density bonus programs, reduced regulatory barriers, direct subsidies to development costs, and many others.
There's a lot of different ways you can tackle affordable and workforce housing, and kind of determining the path that you want to take. And that's where the housing needs assessment comes in, to understand, what are the areas that you need, that you feel capable or most urgent to tackle, and then putting that game plan together and finding those partnerships.
Building affordable housing is too expensive and risky for private developers to do alone. Therefore, public money is needed to fill the gaps and reduce the risk. To dive deeper into this topic and others, visit the Colorado Division of Housing Local Officials Toolkit.